So congrats, you have your motorcycle finally. You know, your friends convinced you. Probably watched some videos, some YouTubers that really, I guess, inspired you to, you know, ride a bike. Then you're just wondering, can I actually like commute on it? Can it actually be my daily? The thing I noticed when I was looking through YouTube is there's a lot of YouTubers that talks about dailying a motorcycle, but in reality, they have a car for things that, you know, they might need, where it's really impractical to do it in a motorcycle, whereas I do everything on a motorcycle. So I'm, you know, I'm here to share like those experiences of just owning a bike and, you know, just literally a bike as your only commuter. So let's start with some pros, right? Start with the first one. It's gas. Like, I'm not gonna lie, for me to commute from my place to school and some errands, it'll probably only cost me like $12 at most, or for maybe 14, depending on like which gas station you go to. So it's really cheap, and like it'll last me like a week or 5 days at the minimum, compared to a car, which is I guess $50. I mean, yeah, we have a smaller tank, but you know, we're also very light, so we're super efficient. Second one is traffic, especially if you're living in LA. Beating traffic, there's nothing better than that. And if you go to work, dailying a motorcycle, it's even better. It's like, you know, I feel like there's no excuse to be late to go to work, because you're always beating traffic, so that's number two. The third one is like, every ride you do is just fun. Like I commute to school, it's, you know, there's a little joy. You always wave, you know, the biker wave, where you do like the 2-piece sign down sort of thing. You know, it just kind of adds up to the experience, right? Whereas in the car, nobody gives a shit about it. So that's number three. So number four, I would say, is the community. Like, I didn't believe my friend when he said that, because I was pretty much bitching a lot about maintenance, this, that, parts, like just how annoying it is to be riding on the rain and, you know, carrying a backpack everywhere. It's, you know, all this shit. Like, I can't, you know, carry, because I'm a design major, so I can't carry like supplies with me. I gotta strap in my bike, you know, just like things that, you know, wouldn't be a problem in a car. But my friend was like, it's all gonna be worth it, because like you're gonna meet people through just riding a bike. And I didn't believe him at first, but I think it's true, because we have like a little group going on now, which I'm really thankful for. And I get to meet so many cool people. And here's the other thing. I feel like bikers, if it was a car meet, and I don't want to like throw people off or anything, but if you're bringing like a Civic, you know, that's modified or whatnot, to like a supercar meet, you know, they're gonna, I guess they can respect you, but you also feel like, oh, okay, like, what am I doing here, right? Like, it's a supercar meet, like, you know, and they would see you as an NPC sort of, or like they'll look at you like you went to the wrong meet. Whereas motorcycles, if you pull up to like a superbike meet with an R3, they would be like, oh shit, nice ride, dude. Start talking to you. It's just more inclusive, because I think that we kind of respect each other for like, okay, you're out here taking the risk riding, right? So that's why we all do the biker wave and stuff like that. Doesn't really work with the Harley guys, but you know, there's that. Alright, and on the next one, you really do feel connected to like everything, like the road, the wind, the smell, and because of that, I kind of, every time I ride, people talk about like this thing about, you know, it's therapeutic and whatnot, but what it is like you really have the ability to focus on, you know, getting from A to B, which, you know, in a car, there's a lot of times where like you get from one, you know, place to another, and you thought, well, I actually didn't know how I got here. Like, it just felt like that I just drove. Like, suddenly in the middle of that, I'm aware that I'm actually driving. You don't get that on a bike, because like you're always aware. You're looking for hazards and dangers, and you know, like you have like an insane amount of focus. Like, you're shifting gears. You gotta be aware of how you brake. You know, because like brake wrong, you could low side or high side, depending on like how, you know, messed up you brake. So there is like kind of that reward of really that, you know, focus, and you're actually locked in. Now we move on to the cons. No, there's actually a lot of cons of riding a motorcycle. I mean, it's impractical, right? Like, everyone knows that. It's just not gonna be as practical as a car. Like, you can't carry shit around. You're gonna get wet when it's raining. We all know that. If you're really gonna consider riding a motorcycle every single day, be prepared. Like, you just wanna go watch a movie. Well, where are you gonna put your helmet on your bike? I mean, I guess in some states it's fine, but like, here in LA, people could piss on your helmet, like, if they see you have a cardo, they'll take your cardo out, or even the whole helmet. So there's just like, a shit ton of like inconvenience, with safety, it's very inconvenient. You also run the risk of your bike getting stolen, which is why I encourage everyone to register your bike. Like, have it legal, bro. Like, if it's stolen, you really want everyone on your side to find the bike. And also put an air tag. It's a good, this bike was stolen. I got an air tag on it, so I was able to find it, luckily. But shit was damaged. Like, it was hardwired, all that stuff. And when I called the cops and everything, because it's legal, I have, like, the confidence of, like, trusting them in a way. So the next con, I would say, if you were to ride a motorcycle on a daily, a part of you kind of, like, begin to get bored and not really appreciate riding for what it is. Because most people, when they ride a motorcycle, it's more like a toy, right? They got a car, they ride. It's a really cool Porsche. They ride for leisure, like a weekend thing. I mean, you could practice it every day, but like, commuting and riding the motorcycles, its potential is two different things, I gotta say. One of the things where, like, people, you could see that they're not used to, or like they just don't know the difference, is covering the brakes. When you are commuting using the public roads, yeah, you do want to cover the brakes at all times. Like, it'll save your life, especially in intersections. But when you're out in the canyons, or like the track, and I learned this because I tried a moto simulator, and like my habits just sort of like kicked in, where like I sort of just had my brakes covered all the time, and it was really slowing my lap time. And so the instructor told me, like, you gotta, like, unless you want like a new collarbone, like, I suggest you not cover the brakes because you're racing. So things like that. Imagine if you're out in the canyons, because the thing about motorcycles is, whatever habits you develop, that's why it's very important to go to like the MSF course. Whatever habits you develop, it'll stick with you. So just covering the brakes, which is like a good habit for the road, it's gonna actually stick if you're gonna go out in the canyons. And if you don't do both very often, you do more street riding than like the canyons, yeah, the habit's gonna kick in when you're in the canyon. And if you're a canyon rider, probably when you're riding around town, it'll kick in, like not covering the brakes, so shit like that. Alright, so the next one, I would say, is gear. Now, gear is very expensive. If y'all are starting to ride, you'd probably realize how expensive it really is. Because, like, the things I wear now, like, my gloves are pretty cheap. But if you get something like a Dainese, it'll probably cost you like 300 something. Like, the most expensive gloves they have are like 500 something bucks, which cost like a whole ass helmet. Helmets are like, you can get a good one for like 200-ish. I would say above 300 is probably where it gets really decent. 400, I think. But yeah, they go all the way to 1,000 something. So that's not cheap. Your jackets too, they're all like 300 something for each. So on my riding jeans, it's just like a lot. So gear is very expensive, and it's very tedious to be safe, but like be practical. So for me, I started out with like textile pants, which are pretty cheap, but then they really get hot. So when I hop off the bike and I go to like a movie, or like I'll meet with friends, it gets really hot. There's no ventilation, so I had to buy these Pandomoto jeans, which are AA abrasion resistance, which is really good. But they're really expensive. I mean, yeah, it's really worth all the money, but if you want to get, when you get gear, you realize that, sometimes you don't need to wear leathers everywhere, and like, you need leathers where you need them, like if you're going out in the canyons, let's say. But when you're commuting, you still need that protection. So you need another gear which is more urban based. So add that up. I truly believe you can't just get one gear for everything if you're daily riding, because situations change, conditions change. Sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. So it really gets expensive, and people are like, well, that's not necessary. Well, yeah, until you like daily ride, you realize, oh man, like it would really make the difference. You gotta wear it all the time. I mean, unless, for me, the minimum is helmet, gloves, and boots, but honestly, I would wear all gear. Right now, I'm wearing a hoodie. I have like a jacket underneath. Yeah, with the gear, like, if you're hanging out with friends and you drive a car, you can have lunch at one spot and then go for dessert to another, no problem. All you have to do is find parking. On a motorcycle, you're carrying all your gear all the time, and you need to rely on your friend's trunk, to store them. And then like every time you go from point A to point B, there's just so many things, like you need to dress up every single time. And like, I'm serious, this is like a pretty like serious, if this is your only commuter, it happens, right? Like you meet a friend and you realize, wow, the conversation's like really going somewhere. Like, I don't actually want to go home yet. So then they're like, oh, maybe we should go to like another place. And then you realize, oh my god, every time we move places, maybe like friends join in and stuff, you need to move from A to B to C. It just gets super tedious. And like, you know, if I gotta see a movie with friends, like I would call them in the mall. Like, where did you park, bro? I need to store my helmet and all my gear. Pretty much that's everything you need to know, guys. I would be talking about more points. If you have any suggestions or anything, you can leave a comment below. I would appreciate that. Because I'm new to this, so you know, I'm down to try anything. Right now we're at Sunset Boulevard. I just got distracted there. It's just my ADHD kicking in, you know. But I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you like what you see. I can't promise that I will upload on a daily or weekly, just because I'm a student right now. I'm finishing thesis, but it's all good. I'll try to make the most I can. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.